So in the previous class we had discussed about water, the two important process, evaporation and condensation, and water cycle. So we will discuss in this class about different forms of precipitation. So first of all, hail. Hail is a form of precipitation. So when raindrops pass through very cold air in the atmosphere, they freeze into balls of ice. So hail means the balls of ice. That balls of ice fall to ground as hail. They fall with very high speed from the sky, and the impact of these balls of ice can injure us and can also damage other things such as crops. You might have seen sometimes during the rain, some balls of ice is coming with rain. So these are called hail. These are called hail. These balls of ice fall to the ground as hail. When raindrops pass through very cold air in the atmosphere, they freeze into balls of ice. So when these balls of ice are coming to the ground, falling to the ground, we are telling them hail. So they fall with very high speed and they can injure us and can also damage other things like crops. Next form is dew. So dew are the tiny droplets of water. Sometimes we have seen tiny droplets of water present on the leaves, petals of flowers. Early in the morning you might have seen on the grasses the droplets of water. So actually the nights are colder than the days. The nights are more colder than the days. So during nights, water vapors in the air condenses into tiny drops on the ground, on plants, on window panes, on grasses, and these are called dew drops. So these are formed by the condensation. These are formed by the condensation of water vapor. The water vapor in the air condenses into tiny drops on the ground, on plants, petals of flowers, grasses, and these are called dew drops. So these are tiny droplets of water. Next is frost. So frost means when nights become very cold, dew drops freeze to form ice. So when nights are very cold, when nights become very cold, these dew drops or tiny droplets of water, they freeze to form ice. That is called frost, and it is very harmful for the crops. So when tiny droplets freeze to form ice, they are known as frost, and they are very harmful for the crops. Next form of precipitation is fog. Here when warm and moist air cools rapidly, the tiny droplets of water are formed and remain suspended in the air. So you might have seen fog early in the morning in the winter season. When you are getting up and you are going early in the morning, you might have experienced the fog. When you are coming to the school by bus, you might have seen fog is there on the road. Roads are not clearly visible, and sometimes you were not able to see your school building also because of the fog. So when warm and moist air cools rapidly, tiny droplets of water are formed, and these tiny droplets of water, they remain suspended in the air. That is called fog. So it is taking place in the winter season. It is often thickest in valleys and hills. So it is very dangerous to drive in the fog because we can't see clearly, so it may lead to accidents. So people who are driving cars or other vehicles cannot see clearly and may crash into another vehicle. That is why some accidents takes place, they crash into another vehicle. So fog is very dangerous. This fog is very dangerous for driving and all, because we are not able to see clearly in the fog. Next is snow. So when clouds become very cold, water vapor suddenly cool to form ice crystals instead of water drops. So these fall down as snow. Snowflakes can be of various sizes and shape. So when clouds becomes very cold, water vapor suddenly cool and to form ice crystals. That is known as snow. So even if water is very essential for us, for survival, there are some impurities found in water. Water is essential for the survival. It is majorly used for drinking and cooking purpose. So water is obtained from wells, rivers, and even the water that comes out of our taps, they may not be clean and pure, because water contain impurities like dissolved salt, dust and debris, waste products, and harmful germs. So water impurities in water can be divided into two categories: soluble and insoluble impurities. Two types of impurities are there, soluble and insoluble. Soluble means that cannot be seen with unaided eyes, and insoluble means that can be seen with unaided eyes. That means with our only eyes, naked eyes, we cannot see the impurities that is soluble, and which we can see is insoluble. So the impurities present in water can make us fall sick. Number of waterborne diseases like cholera, diarrhea, typhoid, tapeworm infection, jaundice, these are caused due to the consumption of impure water. If we take the impure water or if we drink impure water, number of waterborne diseases can take place. So to make water fit for drinking, the impurities should be removed. We should remove the impurities so that we can use the water for drinking. So there are different ways through which we can purify water, like boiling, sedimentation, decantation, filtration. So we will see the different methods by which we can purify water. So boiling is the best and simplest way to kill germs and bacteria present in the water. So by boiling for the water for 15 to 20 minutes, we can kill the germs. So when the boiled water cools down, transfer to a clean covered container and store it for the further use. So we should boil the water and then we should use the water. When before drinking, we should boil the water for 15 to 20 minutes so that the germs are and the bacteria are killed, and it is the best and simplest way to purify water. Next method is our filtration. The process of separating suspended and insoluble impurities from a liquid through a filter is known as filtration. Like we are filtering, that is filtration. In this process, water is passed through a filter paper kept in a funnel. So the impurities present in water are left behind on the filter paper, and clean water gets collected in the container. So the water may look clean through the unaided eyes, but it may contain harmful germs and soluble impurities. So here you can see this is the process of filtration. Water is passed through a filter paper. It is a conical shape structure is there. Above that filter paper is there. The water is passed through the filter paper. The impurities are left behind in the filter paper, and here the water is collected. Clean water is collected here, and the impurities are left behind on the filter paper. So this clean water also may look very clean and very pure, but it may contain some harmful germs and soluble impurities which we are not able to see. So that is why after filtration also we should boil the water for 15 to 20 minutes, because if any germs, any harmful germs will be there, by boiling these germs will be killed. So next method is sedimentation and decantation. Sedimentation and decantation takes place together. Like filtration, this is another method to remove insoluble impurities from water. Like when water contains some visible impurities such as mud or sand, then you can see that a water is having in a container, water is having mud and sand, that you can allow the water to stand for in the container for some time. Don't disturb the water, leave behind the container. Then you can see after some time the heavier impurities settle down at the bottom of the container. You can try with your bottle also. You will fill water in the bottle with some sand and mud, and you will keep the water undisturbed. You will not disturb the water. Then after some time you can see that the impurities will settle down and at the bottom of the container, and this is called sedimentation. When the sediments or impurities are also known as sediments. So when the impurities are settling down, that time this is called sedimentation. So you can see that impurities are settled down. Above that, the clean water, layer of clean water you can see. So you can pour the water into another container slowly without disturbing the settled impurities. That process is called decantation. So here also water is not clean, maybe little bit muddy or cloudy. So again we can do filtration and then boil the water. So this is our sedimentation and decantation. You can see the impurities are settled down and the layer of clean water we can see. Then slowly we can pour the clean water into another container. So when it is settled down, it is called sedimentation, and when we pour the clean water, that is called decantation. This is sedimentation and decantation. These two takes place together. Next is chlorination. It is an effective method for making water safe for drinking. Chlorine gas is passed through the water. Chlorine tablets are used to kill the germs present in water. So that process is called chlorination. In this process, either chlorine gas is used or chlorine tablets are used. So from here you can study in details about sedimentation, decantation and chlorine. So chlorination means here chlorine gas is passed or chlorine tablets are used to kill the germs in water. Save water, save lives. We know that water is a precious resource, so we need water for everything. So we are making the water very rapidly depleting, or it is getting polluted, so it is necessary for us to save the water. So some methods are there by which we can save water, and it is our responsibility to save water for the future generation. Like we should not waste water by letting taps drip. We should not waste the water. We should avoid draining water unnecessarily while cleaning cars, balconies, kitchens and driveways. When we are cleaning cars, balconies, kitchens and all, we are using a lot of water. So we should avoid draining water unnecessarily. Water which is used in kitchen for washing fruits and vegetables, we can reuse for watering plants. Then when we are brushing or shaving, we should not left the running water. Taps should not be left running while brushing or shaving. So when we take bath, we can use a bucket and a mug, so that we use just enough water for bathing. It is better than using a shower, which may lead to unnecessary wastage of water. Nowadays we are habituated with shower, but using a shower is wasting a lot of water. So we can use a bucket and a mug, so that we just need enough water. We can use just enough water for bathing. So these are the few ways to save water. In the next class, I will give the question answer, write and learn them. Till then, read the lesson completely and learn all the things.